Persona 3, a pretty good game with some pretty good characters. So let's pit them against each other and rank them. So how I'm going to be doing this is going by tier and talking about each character and why they are where they are. This will be scaled from F tier, which is the appalling, and S tier, which is for the astounding. This will also serve as a top 10 list in a way because each character will be in order of least favorite to most favorite. As for who will be on this list, it's going to be the protagonists, all party members including Aigis from Fez, all social links excluding the portable FMC ones, Strega, and Elizabeth. No Igor because he's in all the games, so if I ever make more of these, I don't have to talk about him each time. I also wouldn't know where to exactly put him because he's more of a guide than anything else. But I do like him.
I've been waiting for this!
Tell them to bring out the whole restaurant! Tell them to bring out the whole restaurant!
This is the only social link in the series that I just outright hate. He's just a fat jerk. They could have gone into self-esteem issues with being overweight and social outlook on it, but no. He uses you the entire social link. He's very unlikable and does not change at all. Persona 3 has this big disparity we're going to see with later characters, as the game has incredible highs and surprising lows.
I've been waiting for this!
First of all, I do not like the design of this guy. Second of all, it's a boring social link and he's as dull as a butter knife. I do think there is potential because it does bring up Mamoru being poor and having to take care of his family as well, which is a realistic issue, but it fails to me because it happens later in the social link, with the rivalry part taking up the majority. Very forgettable Strega member with a lackluster, stupid design. Again, another good premise, but fails in execution as it's just forgettable. Keisuke doesn't want to follow in his dad's footsteps, but seems to genuinely want to be a doctor. So he's indecisive, which, saying this out loud in hindsight, really does kind of go with the theme of the game. Finding some meaning in life, no matter how small or big it is, and enjoying it. But god, the first few ranks are just really boring. It only starts to get a little interesting during the end. I don't like Yukari. She's very grating and annoying to me, but I don't hate her. I think some aspects of her backstory and character are good. When I saw what happened to her dad, I felt genuinely sad for her. Like, that letter was very gut-wrenching. I also think she can be humorous at times. Yeah, she's more realistic, but that doesn't automatically mean she's a great character. I think the rest of the party members, except for the one after this, have just as complex backstories as her, but aren't as irritating. Her social link is not very memorable and doesn't do justice for her character. Unfortunately, I can't count spin-off games as I'm playing Persona Q right now. I actually find her character pretty tolerable and good there. Oh, and she cannot hit a single shot.
I've been waiting for this!
Wait, your aunt is spending so much of your time. You have so many horse flies in the tent.
Attends, t'en as autant de temps.
He's a French weeb that wants to make a kimono. I think this one is just hard to get through because the accent is written so horribly that makes it almost impossible to read. But if you take away the French, it's just another boring shell of a social link. Bebe's design is kind of cool though, and despite all of this, his epilogue scene did get me in the feels for some reason.
Taking pictures of people that stop by.
All the illegal drugs you do in your garage?
Oh, there's no illegal
and on the
drugs in my
property?
garage.
Oh, yes, there is. And there's evidence of it.
Hello there.
Hello,
darling.
no illegal.
It's cute! An old couple is definitely cute, and it's definitely better than the previous ones, which is why it's in C tier. But yet again, another unremarkable social link. I'm running out of synonyms for forgettable. It is somewhat unique because it's two characters instead of one. It's also very sad as their son died and they want to remember him by this persimmon tree, but then they realized through the link that they want to honor his memory by giving up that tree because he wouldn't have wanted them to latch onto it. It's a satisfying conclusion that works out for both parties, the couple and the students. But again, the first half is just an old couple, and it's hard not to compare when the future Hierophant characters destroy any competition by how amazing they are. We don't really get to see much of her, and I wish we did. She's a member of Strega and becomes Junpei a member of C's, his boyfriend. I think Chidori is an interesting character, and I actually like her relationship with Junpei. I think both of them complement each other's characterization. Other than that though, you don't really know much about her. I mean, she likes to draw and is mentally ill. I also hate the whole she can come back to life because it literally goes against the entire theme and message of the game, and it's just stupid anime logic. I think this will be a pretty unpopular pick here, but I'm not the biggest fan of Mitsuru here, in her base game at least. As in spin-offs, just like Yukari, I like her more there. She's the opposite of Yukari. She comes off as stoic and statue-like. In the main story, in her social link, she's a little better, and it can be funny at times with her tunnel vision of her goals, and that whole rich person vibe. I also couldn't really feel that sad for her when her dad died, because Jesus Christ, you barely see the guy. I mean, the other reveal that happens when he dies just drowns him out. This guy is basically just prototype Ryuji. Kazuichi is really a middle-of-the-road character. He's really harmless. His whole social link is really just him complaining about his knee. I think Ryuji did this way better.
I'll bet they won't have. Wow, they have it! Motherfucking Newports!
This guy's pretty chill. I'm not that fond of his design, but his social link, hear me out, is actually interesting. We're starting to get into I like these characters territory. At the start, it's like Nozumi. Hidetoshi is a scumbag. I mean, look at him. He definitely tells the teacher about last night's homework. So basically how the social link goes is this guy is a member of the student council and is looking into someone smoking in the bathroom. Yeah, this game was made in 2006, before the vaping craze took off. You basically help him in trying to find the culprit, but then later on, a snitch teacher accuses you of being the culprit. Hidetoshi actually stands up for you and admits that he was being a little too harsh. You find this out because his father broke the law, and Hidetoshi would rather uphold it. This is some solid development, but I do have an issue with how if you want to get the right choices in this link, you have to agree with him completely. A character I wish got more screen time, and he does in FMC and spin-offs, but we can't talk about them. He has a cool design and persona. I honestly take him over Yukari just for the dynamic with Akihiko and Mitsuru. But spoiler alert for this almost 20-year-old game, Shinjiro dies. I like what Shinjiro does rather than his character itself. On October 4th onward, Shinji acts as a catalyst to make this game and story good. His death basically heightens two other characters to great length at the sacrifice of his own. I wish he stuck around earlier to make his death more impactful because he's more of a plot device. Wasted potential. I love his sickly design and wish that was gone into deeper. And his English voice acting is very good. He feels threatening in cutscenes, definitely not gameplay. Strega as a group is just so underutilized and it sucks. It really sucks. Because the tone of this game would really work with them. If they had a couple more minutes in the oven, I think they would have been a great fool to seize. But what we're left with is just unexplained motives. I love hanging out with this dude at night. I don't know, there's something about Knight's social links. I like him more when I'm buying products from him though. But this social link is alright. He's like Nozumi in that he doesn't really change or grow and is just a shady schmuck. But it's fun to be around. I love committing tax fraud. This is just a comedic and actually pretty accurate social link.
I've been waiting for this.
This guy was the first Andrew Tate. This cigar-smoking elderly man is Mutatsu. This is where I think the characters at last memorable or good. He hangs around in a nightclub. He's like a drunk monk who gives you advice. Mutatsu is like Persona 3's version of a fatherly figure. You can tell he's been through life, good and bad. He's trying to put you on the right path, but you find out that he's not that good of a person, as his wife and kid left him, which is sad and funny in a way. I think this link is very in line with the themes of the game, and you know I like that. But points off because this guy doesn't look that cool.
Got the whole club looking at her. She's Jessica! Did you sleep with your goddamn teacher? What? Did you sleep with your teacher?
This is a very questionable pick. Look, I know he wants to date his teacher and he's a high schooler. Don't act like you didn't do the same with Kawakami. I don't mind his personality and I find the social link very funny at times. Yes, there's better characters who handle this kind of thing better in the future games, but this one isn't bad. I like his design. He feels like the standard social link design. I don't really get the hate. He's a kid, a stupid kid, and it's fun. I think he should have grown more, but it's like Tanaka, it's just fun and dumb.
Skip. But when does this game get fucking good?
I think she's sweet. This is like a really early alpha build Futaba. The social links in this game are just so average or horrible that I have no real reasoning for this placement. I think it's just better than the others so far, but it's average. Her design, however, is awesome. It's one of the better looking of the characters. The social link starts with her trying to gain confidence talking to men, and the second half is her facing drama, a scandal if you will, and she learns to face her anxiety. I also like to talk about her cameo in Persona 4. It doesn't technically break any rules because this isn't from a spin-off or something that I haven't played, but it was genuinely nice to see her develop and become in a more confident position of president. It's a short cameo and it just feels like a natural extension of her character. Good on you, Persona 4.
I'll be crying if I look like that too, bro. That's fucked up what they be doing to y'all. I ain't even gonna hold you, bro. I be saying that's fucked up, like, bro. You probably had the full wash and set. Your shit be fire probably if they ain't cut your shit. Fuck it though, bro. It's your life.
Yuko is a very beginner-friendly social link to me. She's very likable to a lot of people with a solid design. She's very interesting at the beginning, but I think she gets overshadowed by later characters. Like, I'm pretty sure there's not a lot of people who dislike her. It might also be because she's probably most players' first romance that they initiate. Both her and Kazuichi are just like, there's not a lot of haters for them. I do like her slightly above Kazuichi though. She's an athletic manager and helps 6th graders improve their running, which is so sweet. How could you hate? Her story is about deciding what to do in life and then figuring it out at the end, which is the theme of the game.
I got the new ice cube right here. It's such a good
He's a dog!
Sparkles and champagne. VIP my section, royalty looking sexy, you know that be my business.
The blue hair protagonist. Oh my god, no, not him. I haven't played Persona 1 or 2 yet, so I can't really compare him to their protagonist. But I can with 4 and 5. And well, Bakoda or Minato, or whatever you want to call him, I think he's just really a blank slate. Yuri Lothenhall doesn't really get to expand his character with the voice acting like Johnny and Xander do, which is weird. Yuri has such a striking voice. I also think the choices in the game are kind of bad at times, like you have to be very manipulative or suck up to people to get the quote-unquote right choice. I usually have the protagonist very high because I like them. His design isn't as appealing, but I will give him one thing. His sacrifice at the end is very emotional.
I've been waiting for this.
Can I be leader?
No, you're too immature. You might get everyone killed, and you only have one persona. I'll make Makoto the leader.
Fine! Then I'll spend 80% of the game being passive-aggressive and mean towards him.
Cool. I can summon 12 personas and date Fuka.
Jesus, what a friggin' jerk!
I love Junpei's design for being very minimalistic. My brother looks like a regular dude with a hat. It's cool seeing a normal dude, not super buff, no crazy hair, with a hat, in this art style. Oh yeah, his character. He fulfills the bro archetype, but basically goes against the entire foundation of it, for the better. He doesn't really like you, he's jealous of you being the leader. He almost compromises C's by saying that he's the leader to Strega. He gets something this game is scared of: development. He owns up to his mistakes and apologizes. I like how the relationship with Chidori enhances him after she dies. The fusion between their personas is so awesome and feels earned. I like his voice acting, which makes him very funny. Overall, great character.
Shut up! You shut up. That's why your shoes raggedy. That's why your mama dead. Dead as hell. What shoes she got on? What shoes she had on her casket?
Yep, I like him. Unlike a lot of people, and that's mainly because of events in this story were heavily influenced by him. Probably one of the most important parts of the game, October 4th, is one that Ken takes part of. They think this kid is responsible for the death of Shinji. Keep in mind, Shinji probably would have died anyway due to the bills he was taking. You see, Shinji accidentally killed Ken's mom 2 years before the game starts, so Ken wants to enact revenge on Shinji. They get into a little conflict. Takaya shows up and shoots Shinji. I thought before I played this game I wouldn't like Ken, but after, I don't really get the criticism of him. He's now one of my favorites. A lot of that has to do with he's a diamond grouped together with rocks. He's way more interesting than these other characters. You have to keep in mind he's also in like 5th grade and tries his best to be an adult. I mean, after Shinji dies, he literally sees no point in life anymore and realizes that the revenge was worthless. It's fun to see a different age group in these games besides teenagers in high school. I like his design and I don't find his voice annoying. Ken is a great character that I wish got more love.
Shut your trap and slob on my cracker.
This social link is great. Basically, you play this MMORPG in your dorm on this computer called Innocent Sin Online. Atlas, you dirty dogs. Give us a Portal remake. You encounter this player called Maya, you form a connection with Maya, and the protagonist calls his avatar in-game Tetsuya. Also some Persona 2 references. Over the social link, Maya reveals more about herself, like the fact that she's a teacher, she also has a crush on one of her students, that student conveniently sounds like you. Yeah, Maya is your homeroom teacher, Mrs. Toriumi. Actually has a nice ending with this whole beach thing in the game, as Toriumi confesses to you and logs off the game forever. I love this because it's hilarious and it's just an off-the-wall idea. Yeah, they use dated internet language, but I think it adds a lot of charm to this game. It's sad that the social link that's mainly just text boxes is way more interesting than the others.
I made a Nintendo Switchblade.
Zachariah, your father and I are getting a divorce.
What? You either have a Wii or your parents are still together. This is such a standout and one that will stick with me. It's very relatable because Mako is a child of divorce. It's great they picked an age range that is most affected and vulnerable to be, that of an elementary schooler. She likes to play around the shrine, and the social link involves talking about her parents' dwindling relationship and fights. And she thinks it may be her fault. Of course it's not, but yeah, again, Persona 3 shows that sometimes it can portray very realistic scenarios. I don't like one thing about this link though. To get the right choice on one of the ranks, you literally have to tell this little girl, who's no older than probably like 10, to run away. You would think it would be the opposite, but weirdly enough, it's not. It ends off with Mako falling in love with the protagonist, and asking them to marry her when she gets older. Mako's Link is just very good and she's very sweet.
I don't think you guys aren't using your imagination. We're talking about a robotic dome top that is literally a spine and a torso with a head that goes. Like, you can't beat that.
Arguably more known than the supposed mascot P3, we have the lovable anti-shadow suppression weapon. Or, I guess if that's too long. It seems nowadays Atlas is pushing for Koromaru to be the mascot of P3. That's fine and all, because he's an adorable little dog. But I think Aigis is really unique to be a mascot and fits the role because she's a walking theme machine. Her whole arc is about a robot becoming human. It's a little cliched, sure, but it works. That final scene on the rooftop with her is a tearjerker that pulls on your heartstrings because you've seen her improvement. Her design is top notch, definitely a Persona design that just really pops with the bright yellow and white. I love how she starts with a very monotone, robotic voice that works well with her stone face, or I guess metal. Delivery of jokes. Some of the best jokes I think come from Aigis. That changes with her social link, and that at the end of the game she sounds human. So yes, it's cliched, but it works because of the game. This guy is literally just a TLDR of the entire game. This is one of the best social links in the entire series. Like, you have Nozumi and this guy in the same game. It encapsulates everything that Persona 3 is about. Finding joy and happiness in your life despite the inevitability of death. Because Akinari is a terminally ill man with a rare genetic disease and doesn't have that much time left. He finds some comfort in writing books, though he never exactly finishes them. But one day, he decides to write one about the meaning of life. The novel is about a pink alligator who, like Akinari, is lonely due to his differences. His pink skin also makes it very difficult for him to hunt. The alligator eventually befriends a flightless bird, and the two become friends due to their differences. One day, the alligator swallows the bird by accident. When he realizes what he has done, he tries to vomit up the bird, only to find that the bird is already dead. The alligator cries and eventually drowns himself in his own tears. His tears, though, form a beautiful lake that all the animals come to love. It's there for such a long time that not even the animals know its creation. By creating such a beautiful thing for so many creatures, the alligator has found its meaning in life. I love how it takes a few tries to figure out the ending, because it's sad, but ultimately a happy ending, much like Akinari. He stops taking his medication midway through the link, claiming it hinders his writing, and he's stopped going to the hospital. Akinari dies between the 9th and 10th rank. His spirit at the shrine gives the protagonist his notebook with the finished product of the story, and says that he's happy that he met the protagonist and found his own meaning. God, that's heavy. And it's even sadder because when his mom comes later on in the final days of the game, and she says that it would have been her son's 20th birthday. But just like that alligator in the story, it would be referenced in Persona 4 that Akinari's story got published and is popular with children, which is just amazing.
I've been waiting for this.
Oh boy, one of my favorites in this game alone, basically. Spin-offs actually ruin a lot what makes his character good. That is, the development. Like at the beginning, he's just like a spin-off type of character. Kinda boring like Mitsuru, but filling the jock archetype. But after Shinjiro's death, someone who he was very close to, we get to see the first Persona evolution. This is probably one of my favorite scenes in the game. It's just so iconic, it's powerful. Akihiko just slamming his fist while grieving is just burned into my mind. He also has one of my favorite personas, Caesar. God, look at that cool design. It's funny because Polydeuces is one of my least favorite. Speaking of design, Akihiko's is simple but effective. And of course, he has hilarious voice lines. A very underrated character, or well, characters. I'm gonna kind of mix like Nyx and Pharos into this. But when I think of Persona 3, I think of this little boy just waking you up and saying ominous, vague stuff. And fighting Nyx. And the scene with Akihiko. There's not much to say about Pharos. He's got like a great design and his voice is spooky. Ryoji is like Akihiko. He's at first shown as this random, perverted, and funny transfer student. But you find out this is quite the contrast to who he actually is. Thanatos, the bringer of death. And also like a medium or Nyx or something. It's hard when you bring godlike entities into your game. But I love how he isn't this evil person. He's just a normal dude who seemed to really enjoy the time you spend with him. The choice to kill him or spare him is very difficult. I mean, they give you like a month aside. It's that depressing. And of course, since Nyx isn't exactly Ryoji, but still connected, I'll just count them together. Nyx is one of the coolest, hardest final bosses ever with a great theme.
Yes, this is Fuka.
Shut up! Let me cook. I don't get the Fuka hate. Now in the main game, yeah, she's a little bland for your taste, but her social link is very good. Her design is awesome, I love her hair, it's this cool color. Her voice acting is good in my opinion, it's not really that robotic. She's just goofy and she makes these goofy faces, man.
Bitch, I'm cheap, keep, buckles don't like.
Girl is killing it. Elizabeth is a velvet room attendant with this beautiful, lavish design. Blue is my favorite color, so you know it's definitely appealing to me. So you don't really have a social link with Elizabeth. Instead, you go on these dates occasionally where you just take this powerful monster into like normal situations and places, and insanity ensues. Elizabeth has one of the best voice actors. She's my favorite of the Velvet Room attendants, and she's probably the funniest character in the game, and one of the funniest in the series. She's just great. So that was my ranking of the Persona 3 characters. Before we end this off, I just want to give an overall opinion of sorts of these characters. And also, my ranking will probably change in the future, like the numbering, so I wouldn't really pay those any mind. Just mainly the tiers I put them in. Because making this, I had a lot of interchangeable ones, you know? Persona 3 just has a lot of mid characters. I think a majority of them went into like D and C tier. Most of this comes from like, it was just their first time making social links and implementing that. So you get like forced romance with the female characters, no platonic if you just want to max out their social link. A lot of them are not even connected to the game, really just there, like Nozumi. Whereas like Persona 5 and maybe some Persona 4, there's a bigger connection to the themes of the game. I love how this game has like some of the best things ever in the series, like Akinari. Like, he has one of the best Ren stories, and you just, like, you see his social link, and you would, like, understand at least the majority of what Persona 3 strives to, like, show and portray. Cease is probably my least favorite of the groups in Persona. Of course, there's no 1 or 2 counted. Please don't get mad at me. I would try them if they were available to me. But one thing I like about Cease is that they're just a realistic group. These guys are just trying to achieve the same goal, but they didn't really like each other at first. Of course they grow. Like, Junpei has an arc of just hating your guts. Yukari is kind of nice. A little. Ken and Shinji just hate each other. And like, the older members kind of feel like a line between the sand between the younger party members. They don't really want to interact. Like, Yukari and Mitsuru is like a really good example of that. And I love the designs, of course. Most of these characters mainly just like number 15 onwards and the like party members. So yeah, that's ranking the Persona 3 characters. I know you guys are going to disagree with this, so let me know what you think of my list, and what's your list? what's your favorite characters down below in the comments. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, leave a like, and goodbye.